One of those lawmakers who signed the letter is Colorado Democrat Jason Crow of Colorado, who served as an Army Ranger in both Iraq and Afghanistan and joins me from Brussels. Congressman, thank you very much. The U.S. is against this. They say they have a fear of escalating the war. They don't think they could be used in time for the current offensive, which is already starting. So make your best case argument.
Hi, Andrea. Well, I'm here in Brussels as part of the NATO Parliamentary Assembly, which is basically NATO's parliament. NATO countries appoint members of their own parliaments and Congress to the larger body. So we've been having discussions with NATO members, with Ukrainians, and I was in the Munich Security Conference a couple of days before that. So I've been talking about this issue with U.S. defense leaders, with international and NATO defense leaders. And a couple of things are clear. Number one, the Ukrainians have an advantage right now, but that advantage will not last. Number two, that they have to go on the offensive and retake territory as soon as the mud season ends. Otherwise, the Russians will rebuild their military power and will continue to try to press this fight. So for all of that to happen, the Ukrainians need to fight differently. They need to have a deep fight. They need to do what's called combined arms fight, fire and maneuver, which means they have to establish air superiority, which they haven't been able to do since the first days of that war, which means they need fourth-generation fighters. Now, that might mean an F-16, that might mean an F-15, that might mean a MiG-29, but they need more aircraft, they need more advanced aircraft. So that's why we've been pressing the administration on a bipartisan basis to help them advance their Air Force, to give them what they need to fight and win.
Now, also in Munich, when I was there, Vice President Harris said, as you know, that Russia has committed crimes against humanity. And I was talking to the Deputy Attorney General, Lisa Monaco, about that, what the Justice Department can do to hold Vladimir Putin accountable. And here's what she said.
We've been working with our Ukrainian partners to help them collect evidence, to help analyze it, to bring cases. We're bringing cases of our own. And last year, the Congress gave us new authority to prosecute war criminals if they are found in the United States, so that there's no safe haven, and the United States isn't a safe haven for war criminals.
Now, when we talk about accountability, Congressman, I was told that one of the big issues here under constitutional law and international law is that this establishing crimes against humanity could establish a basis for reparations, that Russia would eventually, when this is all over, be required to help rebuild Ukraine. Is that in the cards?
Well, I personally think it should be, Andrea. There's a couple of things going on here. Number one, we need to help the Ukrainians and train their prosecutors, train their investigators to document these war crimes. Number two is the international community, led by the United States, should use its intelligence tools to help collect evidence of these war crimes and these crimes against humanity. In fact, I led an effort on the Intelligence Committee to put into our annual intelligence funding bill an authorization for our intelligence community to use our tools, our surveillance tools and our technology to actually collect this evidence and then forward it to prosecutors for use. Number three, there needs to be a worldwide effort to find the perpetrators of these crimes at all levels, from lowest ranking soldiers to the commanders in the Russian army ordering these atrocities, and to bring them to justice. And that will be in various forums throughout the world, in Ukraine, the International Criminal Court, and other places. So there's multiple things that need to happen. But I will say it is shocking to the conscience what Russia is doing, from raping young girls to bombing water and food infrastructure to try to starve and freeze the Ukrainian people, to now kidnapping literally thousands of Ukrainian children from Ukrainian seized territory, sending them to camps and trying to re-indoctrinate them, these children, into a Russian doctrine. It is appalling what they're doing, and it must be stopped.
I want to also ask you to react to something that some House Republicans from that Freedom Caucus, or the MAGA Republicans, whatever you want to call them, they're attacking President Biden for going to Ukraine on Twitter, saying that he should be at our southern border here or in East Palestine, Ohio, not supporting this foreign war. Do you want to react to that?
Well, I mean, I don't even know how to react to it, because it's really not even worth my brain space to spend time responding to fools. Right? These people know nothing about national security and foreign policy. They don't understand that it's in our strategic interests and our security interests and the American people's interests to have a stable, prosperous, and free Europe in a free world, and that's what this fight is about. And it's not mutually exclusive either. We can have a secure border. We can do the things we need to do as a democracy, and we can be engaged in the world. In fact, the United States of America has done that for a very long time, and we've done it successfully, and we can continue to do that. And I'm here, by the way, on a bipartisan delegation that's led by a Republican. The leader of our delegation is a Republican who's the head of the NATO Parliamentary Assembly for the United States. There's more Republicans on this trip right now than there are Democrats. So there's a very small number of people who make a lot of noise, but not a lot of people pay attention to them because it's frankly just not worth it.